Jeff Grubb, GamesBeat. This time we are reviewing the Razer Kraken Pro V2. It is the latest update to Razer's best-selling headset, or in that range at least. It is an update of one of its already existing models, and it's pretty great. I like it a lot. It is the updates, the changes that they've made primarily are in the ear cups. They're bigger ear cups. They also have bigger drivers in them, 50 millimeter as opposed to 40 millimeter. It's also lighter, and I think that there's a few other things, but those are the highlights. And I'll kind of get into why these things are especially great. It is $80. It is out now. I think you can order it, and it should ship out immediately. But it is part of Razer's sort of complete revamping of its holiday lineup. So they've had, they have the Kraken Pro, they had the Kraken 7.1 Man-O-War headsets. Now they have the Kraken Pro V2, the 7.1 V2, and the Man-O-War 7.1, which is a wired version of the Man-O-War. This is on the lower end in terms of price, and it's kind of competing with companies like HyperX and some Logitech models, Steel Series, and there's a lot of great headsets out there in this price range. But what I like about the Razer is that it's catching up. It's right there with all those other headsets, all those other really great models that you can go out and buy. Yet it maintains that Razer aesthetic that I personally really appreciate and think it looks really attractive. So with that, let's kind of jump right into what I like. First, in terms of sound quality, the 50 millimeter drivers. Now I think that could be a marketing buzzword a lot of times. Oh, 50 millimeter, it's bigger than 40, so you should probably get this one instead. That's not the case always. Don't buy a headset because it has 50 millimeter drivers. Some of the best sounding headsets I've used this year in 2016 have been headsets with 40 millimeter drivers, and they put out plenty of bass, which I think is like the big selling point. Oh, the bigger ones can handle bass tones a lot easier. Now, while I think across the board that's not always the case, it doesn't really matter. You need to listen to the headset before you make a purchasing decision, or at least get really good advice. While that doesn't always matter, in this case, I think it is an improvement. I do think Razer has used the wider spectrum, the wider surface area, pushing air through, the ear cups to provide more bass. And the bass is pretty good. It's pretty thumping. It handles explosions really well. And then, up until like kind of the very extremes of the volume that this can handle, it also does a fine job of articulating mid and high tones. So you have this rumbly tumbly feeling, going on around you because, the world is, exploding or whatever. You're listening to a heavy bass song, and yet everything else is still just piercing through exactly like you want it to, accurately and without distortion. Now, another thing that I think is hugely important and a huge improvement with this headset is the comfort. Razer has used an aluminum kind of chassis for this headset instead of plastic. I think it might have used before, and this aluminum means that this headset is sturdy, and yet it's not, and yet it doesn't feel heavy. Now I put this on, and every time I always get this sort of sensation like, whoa, where did it go? Like I can feel it there, but it almost feels like a baseball cap, a hat. Like it's just this lightweight fabric up there. Now I think it's a combination of its overall lightness and Razer doing a really excellent job of distributing the weight of the device across the entire body. That is also likely due to the aluminum. Being able to kind of keep a sturdy structure throughout. And I love the way it feels. I forget about it once it's up there. And that means that this can be an all-day headset, which I think is why they are positioning it with that Pro designator. They want you to think of this as the headset that people who play games for 10 to 12 hours a day are going to use. And they could because of its comfort. It's just so nice. Now, I have the 7.1 V2 right here. You can see they look identical, but the 7, like, this is much heavier than the Pro. That doesn't mean it's uncomfortable. I think the 7.1 it's just fine. But this is going to be in a situation where you're going to wear it and never get fatigued. Your neck is never going to be mad at you in the morning because you were wearing a headset all night. This is just going to float away like a feather once it's up there. Two other big things I like. I mentioned this already, but the style. I think it looks really nice. It means you could take it anywhere. Take it outside. And because it has a 3.5 millimeter jack, you could plug it into your phone and use it on any device and take it outside, and you will because it looks so professional. I think this looks like something like you see like a hip looking athlete or someone who's like, who dresses real nice, and then they have their headphones on. This looks like something they might wear because it just looks like professional audio equipment that looks expensive, like what you want, and this matches exactly what you want. I think the big reason for that is these ear cups. They've always had this really nice subtle arc to it, and they don't look kind of like loud and gamer like. They just look futuristic and stylish in a way that I really appreciate. Another reason you could take it outside and wear it in public is because of this retractable microphone. Comes in, it comes out, goes back in. Something Razer's had in all its headsets, but it's always worth pointing out how great that is. That means you can be listening to podcasts, be listening to music, get a call, hit the button, pull this out, and just have your conversation with your headset still on. Put it away. If you're in the car, that's really useful. I've done that plenty of times, and it's really smart. And and because I'm wearing this outside, because it's so stylish, I can take hands-free calls that way. Again, it's something I appreciate. Finally, more on the microphone. This microphone it's actually super impressive. Let's switch over to it right now, and I will explain. Let's see. I think the thing about the microphone is, and I am getting on it right now. Let's make sure. I'm going to slap it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, and you could hear that I think it sounds, I'm comparing it to the Blue that you were just listening to. Maybe this doesn't sound as great, but I just think that this headset sounds phenomenal. There's something about the fact that it's going over 3.5 millimeter and not USB that keeps it from sounding compressed and digitized, like it's going through a bunch of algorithms to keep background noise out. Now, you might be hearing it. You can maybe hear some background noise in my room. You might be able to hear my computer. That's going to bother some people if you have a loud computer or lots of stuff going on in your room. Maybe this isn't the way to go. But I think this sounds so much better than a lot of USB microphones, a lot of other headsets that go over 3.5 millimeter. It's a really decent sounding headset. If you like that compressed sound, go with the USB, but it's just not my favorite. I prefer something like this. Now, you could deal with the background noise, in a number of ways. Almost every game that has voice chat has a noise gate that you can set. If you're using Discord for voice chat, that definitely has a noise gate that you could set up. It's all super simple stuff, and I would recommend it because it's worth it to get this kind of crystal clear audio. Okay. Let's go back to the Blue, and we will wrap this up with my one kind of negative. Right there. I keep saying kinda. I'm trying to cut that out. Okay. So the one negative that's worth pointing out is at high volumes, the audio quality that I mentioned earlier kind of falls apart. I just said kinda again. It falls apart because that bass and those larger drivers, I think, are causing a problem where they're pushing through excess air that isn't needed or isn't being used to create the bass tones. So you kind of get this breathy, airy sensation, this kind of hollow quality. I said kind of again. I'm going to get over this, I swear. You get this hollow quality that overruns the mid and high tones and makes them seem like they are happening at a distance. The bass is still impressive, but you also get this low, almost imperceptible hissing, like again, like this constant exhaling, this not that loud, but it's there, and I noticed it. and it bothered me. Now, this only happens at high volumes, extreme volumes. Now, above average, normal volumes, what I consider normal, above average, kind of getting into the loud regions, it's fine. It only happens when you are beginning to max out what the decibel level that this is capable of producing. So I think that this negative, this thing I don't like, should be viewed in a very specific circumstance. If you are buying this to listen to music and you listen to your music, blaring loud, like you want to cause permanent hearing loss, then you might go buy something else. Don't get these. But if you are wearing this for 10 to 12 hours a day, you probably should be playing at normal to above average volumes. And in that situation, you're not going to get those distortions. You're not going to get that weirdness. You're just going to get that articulate, accurate audio quality that I was praising earlier. And on top of that, you're going to want it at that level because you don't want to be causing permanent hearing loss. So at the volumes that you're going to be using this device at, it's just fine, and I really recommend it. And I think that's going to kind of wrap it up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. Hopefully I didn't say kinda a million times. I'm sure I did. I don't know what that's about. I think my brain just doesn't like me. I'm also very tired. So, thank you for watching. This is going to be the end of the video. I'm just going to ramble off into the sunset. Razer Kraken Pro V2, $80 out now. Like I said, you can go online and order it. More from me on GamesBeat.com. I am Jeffrey Grubb. I don't think there's anything else, so I will see you folk in the next video.